Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Coffee Rant with Dano and Frank. Today is September 30th, 2024. Looks like the port strike is imminent. Looks like it is happening. The clock is ticking at 12:01 a.m. We are expecting 36, maybe more, 36 ports between New England and Houston to shut down. And that is not good. That is not good. A lot of things affected. We went over this in a video last night. We had hopes that something would happen for the workers, for everyone involved in this. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. But CNBC put out this article, which I'm going to read some of, and we're going to talk about some of this. They also go over all companies that are affected by this. And I'll tell you what, it is pretty alarming. In each port, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them seem to be affecting Walmart as well, along with places like Home Depot and some other places. I mean, it's just all over. IKEA, anything you can really think of. I mean, it is just unreal with 45, and I read somewhere up to 50,000 workers that will strike. That will strike by 12:01 a.m. if a deal is not reached. So the clock is ticking. With ports, this is from CNBC website. If you want to check out any of this information, I'm not going to go over all of the different ports of where they go over all the different companies that are involved. If you want to check out CNBC's website on the port strike of 2024, you will find the whole list. This was updated this morning at 7 a.m. I'm going to try and get this video out as quick as I can. It may come out earlier than tonight because I want people to be a little, if you have to make... I don't know how fast these things will take effect. We see how fast prices go up at the grocery stores and everything else. I don't know how long it will take to take effect, but each day that there is a strike, it can mean a lot of money. It can mean a lot of money. I don't know, wasted. We have rail cars, we have trains, we have trucks that are trying to get out billions of dollars worth of merchandise as fast as possible before tonight. So how successful that's going to be, nobody really knows. But people are working hard to get the products that we do have now out to the different companies, I guess. It's just going to go on and read some of this here. CNBC says, with port strike imminent on East Coast and the Gulf, truckers, rails are scrambling to move billions in cargo before midnight shutdown. Okay. Now, they go on to say here, with a potential strike at ports up and down the East Coast, along with the Gulf Coast set to begin after midnight Monday, logistics executive tells CNBC the remaining hours are critical in moving out as much trade as possible before a shutdown that will do serious damage to the functioning of the U.S. economy. Based on data from Import Genius, which tracks the bills of lading, the digital receipts of cargo containers, a total of 54,456 20-foot equivalent units arrived on Friday at the 14 ports operating under the master contract between the International Longshoremen's Association and the U.S. Maritime Alliance, which expires at midnight Monday, which is tonight, here in just a few hours. The approximate value of the freight was upward of $2.7 billion based on a MDS transmodel estimate of $50,000 per container. For the weekdays between September 23rd and 27th, a total of 273,417 TEUs were imputed through customs at these ports with a value of approximately $13.67 billion. Alan Baer, CEO of OL USA, said the enormity of the freight volumes arriving Friday alone shows the scramble logistics companies are in to get the containers off the dock by close of business Monday. Sounds impossible. Quote, importers, in coordination with their logistic partners, should try to clear as many of their containers off open terminals where possible to avoid possible delays in acquiring their inventory, said Bear. On average, it takes 1 week to clear out 1 day of port closure. As much as 43% to 49% of total containerized goods entering the U.S. are processed through ports on the East Coast and Gulf Coast. Michael Kanko, CEO of Import Genius, tells CNBC the economic importance of the ports impacted by an ILA strike is profound. Quote, as our data shows, a strike of even a week will block the flow of hundreds of thousands of containers into the U.S., he said. Quote, these ports are also a major gateway into the U.S. for refrigerated produce. Time isn't on the side of importers. And then they go on a massive who is going to be affected by the top U.S. importing companies exposed to the impending port strike. Now, they give the different companies between the different port strike of the products. I'll go over a few here just so you get kind of an idea here, okay? Walmart, IKEA, Samsung, Bob's Discount Furniture, LG, Home Depot, Continental Tire, Hyundai, Dollar General, General Motors, Amazon, Folgers, Coffee, Folgers, Raymer's Furniture Company, Goodyear Tire and Rubber, Michelin, Heineken, and Pepsi. Quote, every importer, exporter, and even domestic shippers should be watching developments very closely this week because the impacts of a port strike on the U.S. East Coast and Gulf Coast ports could potentially impact all modes if there is a strike, like we've been talking about. This could affect a lot more than what is just happening today, tomorrow, and for the next week. It's going to affect a lot of different things. Let's see. The ILA is North America's largest longshoremen's union. In a social media post Sunday, the ILA said its 85,000 members, quote, joined in solidarity by tens of thousands of dock workers and maritime workers around the world, end quote, will hit the picket lines at 12:01 a.m. on Tuesday, October 1st, and strike at all Atlantic and Gulf Coast ports from Maine to Texas. Time to work out those deals, guys. Pay them. Got to pay the workers. You know, it's everything keeps going up. We got to keep up with everything else going on. You know, I mean, people can barely afford to eat these days. Now, you know, I don't know the logistics or anything. All I know is that this is going to be trouble for our country. It's going to be major trouble for our country if this doesn't get worked out. I'm hoping, you know, and they're saying now pretty much everywhere. There's a lot of different sites that are saying this is imminent. It's going to happen. It's going to take action after it happens for people to realize, like, oh, okay, this is going downhill very quickly. I don't understand why people can't do the math and figure that out right away. But just have to roll with the punches, guys, I guess. I don't know anymore. Approximately 50,000 ILA union members work at the ports of Boston, New York/New Jersey, Philadelphia, Wilmington, North Carolina, Baltimore, Norfolk, Virginia, Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, Jacksonville, Florida, Tampa, Florida, Miami, New Orleans, Mobile, Alabama, and Houston. No negotiations were underway and none were planned before the Monday deadline, according to a Reuters report. In recent days, I'm not going to go into all the political stuff that's involved in this. We are a month away from election, and it's like no matter what site you go on, they're always trying to push left, right, center, up, down. I'm not into that. This is America. Get it fixed. I don't care who the administration is. Get it fixed. Work it out. Work it out to where, you know, we need our workers happy. We need our workers happy. right? They have to be able to earn a living for their families. You know, the cost of living has gotten ridiculous, and it's because of all these falls of the economy that has made it ridiculous. Every little inch that we move toward getting ourselves out of any of the deepest dark hole just to arrive to a lighter dark hole here, you know, we need to do. We need to do. This is outrageous. It is. There's no other way to say it. I mean, you know, the only reason why I'm even covering this right now is because this is crucial. This is something that has to get done quick. I had thought it would have. You know, but then there I go again thinking, right? I get thinking like, oh, this can't happen to us, right? I fell into that trap again, guys. I apologize, but I think this can't happen to us again and again and again. Like, you learn from your mistakes. And this, you know, and I understand strikes happen because, you know, people need more money. They need more money. I get that. So the people that need to pay them more money need to work that out. If there's no negotiations, if there's no talk, why wait until everything is shut down before, oh, okay, well, I guess we're going to lose money too. I guess we got to pay the guys. It just seems ridiculous that this has been going on forever and nothing has been done. Nothing. I mean, it seems like no talks of any kind. People say, oh, the workers want too much money. The workers say they're not getting paid enough money. Well, come to some common ground, right? You know, in a world, and I'm not saying that a lot of people aren't greedy, right? Everybody's a little greedy. You want to make what you're worth, right? But not, some people don't want to just make what they're worth. They want to make like a lot more, right? Who doesn't? Right? So you have to come to some common ground. I get it. You have to have some kind of negotiation. You have to work it out. It doesn't seem like it's even close. Even close. So, like I said before, guys, the clock is ticking. Now it's all over the news. I mean, it's been in news stories here and there, but I think, you know, even some news, you know, until it's a dire emergency, I feel like the news doesn't put it out there. Yeah, you know, I thought something was going to be done. I'm sure a lot of you did too. I mean, after what happened during, you know, what happened a few years ago and everything off the West Coast and different deals that weren't made there. Before, we all thought it was something else. Well, now it's a money thing. It's always a money thing, guys. Follow the money and you will find your answers. Anyway, let's have a sip of coffee here. All right. Let's see what else they got to say. Let me skim through this here. Make sure there's no political agendas in here. Okay, here we go. The union suspended talks with the USMX in June over issues of including use of automation at ports and wages. And the port's ownership group has said in recent weeks that the ILA continues to, quote, strongly signal, end quote, that it has already made the decision to strike. This was back in June. This was months ago. It's ridiculous. No talks. I guess we're just going to just completely implode and nothing's going to function and talks of automation and all this. Okay. Good luck. It hasn't worked to the extent so far. And to me, that kind of says, oh, well, as soon as you figure this out, I guess I'm just another number and I'm out of here. Right? When you figure out how automation can do everything here for you, you know, maybe that's the numbers they're trying to work out. Pay the guys. Pay them. Pay them. You know, if the numbers are going up, if you're getting richer and richer, right, you need more money. People who have more money, you know what it is? It's power. It's power. I learned that from Star Wars. Anybody ever watch Star Wars? The only thing that people with great power are afraid to lose is their power. And the more money you have and you just keep coming, it's not even about money anymore. It's about image or something, right? I don't know. I've told my wife and family over the years, like, I don't need to be rich. I need enough to supply for my family and get by. And that's what these workers are trying to do, right? While the rich are getting richer. And like we talked about yesterday, the middle class, it's poor and then the rich, right? Rich is such a strong word. I'm sure there's lots of millionaires and billionaires out there with a good heart. I'm sure there are. But I'll tell you what, it doesn't show very good here, right? When this is not, it's not working out. And again, I don't know all the logistics of this. I don't know all the math, right? If I don't know all the math, I'm just the messenger here. I'm just relaying the message while kind of voicing my opinion for whatever little that may matter. And I don't mean to sound like I don't, my opinion don't matter. I'm just saying these things, by throwing out a stupid quote of including use of automation at ports, you're basically saying, oh, okay, you're not really, maybe that is that to get me to think as a worker that, oh, okay, I'm replaceable and you're going to do this. Sure. Throw up the strike or pay me. Right. And then, they say that the ILA continues to strongly signal that it has already made a decision to strike. Well, that's because there's no negotiations. No negotiations at all. So, I don't know. It's imminent, guys. Clock is ticking. A port strike could threaten the recent gains made in bringing down inflation. Oh, boy. Let me try that again. A ports strike could threaten the recent gains made in bringing down inflation and the prices paid by consumers across a wide range of goods, and could give former President Donald Trump another talking point over the key voter issue of the economy in the final month of campaigning. Again, I had to finish that sentence there. I'm trying not to mention any political ways or flows or anything, but boy, that is the way they're looking at it, isn't it? It's not about getting back on track. It's about, and I don't care. Okay, I don't care which side it is. Okay, this isn't about picking and choosing and this. Of course it is. Because it's October, 1 month before the election year. It almost kind of begs the question, was this planned? I mean, not saying politically. I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. I was just finishing the sentence. Based on prior port strikes, ocean carriers normally profit from soaring freight rates based on demand for other ports, as well as detention and demurrage fees on containers stranded during a port's shutdown. Analysts have been warning ocean spot rates could increase by 20 to 50%. UBS forecast about 20% of Maersk, Maersks, I probably destroyed that pronunciation, Maersk, total volume would touch a U.S. port that would be impacted by the strike. Maersk is on the board of the USMX. UBS estimated that if freight rates increased 30% over 2 quarters, a revenue tailwind of more than $1 billion would be generated. Meanwhile, union support is a critical issue for the... Okay, I'm done. The rest of this looks political. They do this, guys. They do this. And this is in every news article. And I was looking through this and didn't really notice at first. I was looking at all the numbers. Usually I look at the numbers and that's all that I go by. But when you see all these companies, and just check the website out for yourself. We're just gonna finish that off here. I'm not gonna get into the whole politics of everything because I don't want to. But it needs to get done. It needs to get done. And heed this warning. Prices are going to go up everywhere. They've been going up everywhere for the last few years since the last I've covered this. I've been covering this for years, guys. Most of you know. Most of you have been on the channel for a long time. And you know that when things like this happen, prices at the grocery stores are going to be going up. Everybody needs to eat, and it's going to reflect on that. People can go without buying clothes. People can go without buying all these other things. It's the medicines, the foods, and everything else that we have to think about. So make sure within the next week or two, even if this lags off for a month, and what do I mean by that? If it takes a while for these prices to start expanding, you better believe they're going to expand. And again, the clock is ticking, guys. We have very little bit of time to stock up on some of the things that you need. I'm not saying go to the store and panic buy, okay? We've never encouraged panic buying on the channel. Somebody left a comment about that. They are encouraging panic buying by what they are doing, okay? I am not. I've always been the smart buyer. The smart buyer is the one that slowly moves their pawns forward, the chess pieces, right? You make sure that you are watching this while you are slowly smart shopping your way around different grocery stores and save up on those different things. Make sure you stock up on probably some different canned goods and things like this. These things are probably going to soar through the roof. And if all this gets resolved, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw price increases on these things anyway, right? Because they're already setting it up. They're already setting it up for these prices to go up, guys. We know it. We know it. I know it. And, you know, I've always said this too. If I'm wrong, well, then you've stocked up on some things that you're going to eat in the future anyway. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Pay attention to the sales, but if it is something that you need, maybe not worry too much about the price right now. Maybe today's regular prices are the sales. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.